basically allowing you to come up with a document which will basically, did anybody tell anything? Okay. So yeah, so you come up with a document, okay, which, so one thing is that, the client tells you the client's requirement, there may be, you may listen and you may understand it differently. So all these misunderstandings may happen, all these things may happen, right? So one objective of this software requirement analysis is that you want to come up with a document which very succinctly describes and completely describes the software requirement of the client, and both you and your client agree on this software requirement. Okay, so this is the software requirement analysis part. And what is the design part? So the design part is that now that the requirements of the clients are there, roughly in the same document, or it may be in the same document, it may be a separate document also, you will provide a design for the software. Okay, now this design is, we will see this typically will be a high level design. Okay, so there will be another low level design of the software which you will do. Okay, but for this one there will be a high level design. Okay, so there will be the requirement and there will be the design. Okay, now okay, so these are some instructions. So basically there is something called software requirement specifications, okay, or SRS document. Okay, so one of the things that you have to submit for this assignment, sorry, for this should be assignment 5. Okay, one of the things that you have to submit for assignment 5 is this SRS document for the project that you have selected. Clear? So there are many formats, most of it are related. So I have provided one format, which is basically, there was a IEEE standard, I think. So even the standard keeps changing. So it's something like, I saw that it is something like 29,000. Earlier, there was a broad standard, which is 730. Then there is also probably a standard, which is 830. Okay. Okay. But this is a document. This is an example SRS document, or not example SRS document, but IEEE template for an SRS document. Okay. So let us look at this will help you in creating. So this is possibly the first requirement specification that you are creating. Okay, so this document will help you structure your thoughts. Okay, so how you can structure the SRS document. Okay, so broadly you can see, I will not go into all the details here. Okay, but very broadly you can see there will be an introduction section, then there will be an overall description section, then there will be an external interface requirement section. Then these two are kind of 4 and 5 may be there, may not be there. So it's more complete. Your SRS document is more complete if 4 and 5 is there, and also other requirements, if there are some, then section 6 may be there, may not be there. Okay. So what is the introduction? So introduction is basically, it should give the sort of the introduction to the software that you are going to design. Okay, so it should have, for example, the purpose. Okay, so in plain English, what should be the purpose of the software. So what does the software, why is the software being designed? Okay. And why, yeah, so that, okay. Then if there are some conventions, okay, so if there are some terminologies, so for example, many times, you are working in a particular domain, okay, there are some technical terminologies or some things, okay, maybe some banking terminology if you are designing some software for the banking domain or something like that, okay. So whatever conventions you are using, it goes into section 1.2, okay. Then there is the intended audience and reading suggestions. Okay, who are the people who should be reading this document, and maybe people who are reading this document, they may first read some more other documents before they can try to read this document to understand. Okay. Then there is the product scope. Okay, so basically, what you should provide here is that what is the scope of the product. Okay, so let us say yeah. So a short description of the software being specified and its purpose, including relevant benefits, objectives, and goal. Relate the relate the software to corporate goals or business strategies. If a separate vision and scope document is available, you can also refer to this. So just to try and understand. So for each part, I have so there is a basically there is a template description of what should go into this. Okay, so you can also look at this. Okay. Okay, then there is references. Okay. Then probably this is the most important section, the overall description section. Okay, so here you first provide the product perspective. Okay, so so what is, basically again something like what the software is doing. Okay, and so what is the input, what is the output, those kind of things. Okay. Product functions is possibly the most important section. This should list what are the kind of what are the use cases. Okay, so what are the functionalities that your software should achieve. Okay. 2.3 is about user classes and characteristics. So all the users who will be using this particular software, and what are their characteristics, etc. Okay. Very important, 2.4 should be operating environment. Okay. So what are the specifications? Your software may need certain other software, it may need certain hardware, it may need a certain kind of a operating environment. Okay, so what kind of a operating environment does your software need? Okay, and then you may provide design and implementation constraints. Okay, so there may be certain design decisions that you took because of certain constraints. Okay, so maybe you were under the constraint that the entire software has to be under maybe 500 MB in size. Okay, or something like that. Okay, and for that reason, maybe you took some design decision. Maybe there was a certain local cache that you would have maintained otherwise, which you maintained in a remote cache or something like that. Okay, so that will go in this section. Okay, then 2.6 will be the user documentation section. So basically, what the user of the software should know about using this particular software. Okay. Okay, and then assumptions and dependencies. Okay, so you understand this. Okay, so this is at a overall description. This is at a high level. You are providing this. Okay, now section 3 is the detailed section. Okay, so here every detail should be provided. Okay, so what are the types of details that should be provided? All the user interfaces. So suppose you have, let's say you are designing a GUI software. Okay, so there may be multiple windows that your software is using. Okay, and each window may also have multiple versions depending on, if a certain thing is checked or not checked. Okay, so all such user interfaces, every description should be provided here, that what are the user interfaces you are providing. Okay, so basically this is like whatever is facing the user. Okay, then 3.2 is actually hardware interfaces. Okay, so your software is interacting with certain hardware, right? So it may be that your software is using maybe a card reader. It may be using some sort of a RFID reader. Okay, your software may be using some kind of network interface. It could be using. It could be yeah. So it could be interfacing with so many things. Okay, so all those interfaces should be described. Okay. Then software interfaces, right? So your software will be interfacing with so many other softwares. Okay, so all those interfaces. Okay, and then communications interface. Okay, so all these things should be provided in detail here. So this you can think is like uh, the like the low level interface design. Okay, so that is how you should look at it. Okay, then comes the system feature. Okay, so system feature will basically provide the use cases. Okay, so it will provide the use cases, system use cases for so all the system feature basically, this is pretty self-explanatory, that whatever the system features you are trying to provide, all of them should be provided. Okay, and then the fifth section is about other non-functional requirements. So system features is also something like functional requirements. Okay, so functional requirements are basically functionalities that the software is providing towards the towards, so these are functionalities that the user wants. Something like when you are doing SR, I mean user requirement analysis. Okay, the user will want certain functionalities to be there. Okay, so those are functional requirements. Okay, non-functional requirements are not about functionalities, but maybe there may be something like performance requirements, there may be safety requirements, there may be security requirements. Okay, there may be software quality attributes. Okay, and so on and so forth. So those can be mentioned here. Okay, and yeah, and then there are these appendices where you can put a glossary of terms. You can so there are different types of analysis as you will see, like so you can provide all the different types of analysis. Okay, and yeah, so maybe you provide like to be determined lists and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm not going into detail because you can, it's very simple and it's self-explanatory, so you can just look at this. So for each of this there is a certain description that is available, so you can look at this. Okay, so by the way, any question or comment till now? Sir? Yes.
Is this document supposed to be completed before we start writing any code?
Yes, so that is the sort of idea, that you first take the requirements, design the software, and then implement the software. Again, you will see a lot of different models are there. So yeah, so there are so many different models. So simple model is that the waterfall model, that you basically first take the requirement specification. Okay, then you design the software, then you develop the software, then you do the testing. Okay, so one after the other. Okay, um, yeah, so in terms of assignment, this is the first assignment that you will get. In the next assignment you will basically be asked to implement the software. Okay, so does that
Yes, sir. But suppose at the time of implementing, we find that something that we had thought of, we can't implement it now. We had to
Exactly.
something.
Yeah, exactly. So which is why that model is not the best model. Okay. So what you should normally do is you all these things should go hand in hand, and there is a development model also about which basically does that. So but yeah, so which is why I said in terms of submission deadline, the requirement specification should be submitted first. Okay. But as you are designing the requirement specification, it would be actually nice if you can also start writing, or at least start seriously thinking about the development process also, and also the testing process. So all these things actually go hand in hand. Okay. And you will see in the so in the software development life cycle, you will see how the way you do these things determines the advantages or the disadvantages of the team that you are developing the software. Okay. um, yeah, so so all the options are available, so you can do in small in small bursts. So they're sometimes called scrums also. Okay. So you can find a particular requirement, do the design for that, and then do the development for that also. Development, by development we mean like something like prototyping for that. Okay. uh, and then you can go to the other requirement and then try to do the augment the prototype with that particular functional feature, and so on and so forth. So this is also one more. In fact, this is possibly one of the more widely used uh, software development methodologies in the industry now, compared to the old waterfall model of development. Okay. But the waterfall model, on the other hand, is simpler. Okay. So you do one job at a time. Okay. Does that yeah, so there is no one correct answer, but it also depends on the developer themselves. But yeah, we will I mean yeah, so it's up to you basically. Okay, I think okay, again somebody has unmuted.
Yes, sir. I'm asking that can you show us kind of an example or a template of an SRS document such that we get an idea of how to do it and all. I mean, it's all just kind of written thing. I mean, an actual SRS document to understand. Okay, this is how we have to write everything and.
SRS.
Okay, can you? There's a lot of background noise actually. Can you? Yeah, you? Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Hello,
Yes.
am I audible now? Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm asking, sir, can you show us kind of an example or example document of, I mean, that SRS document, an example of it is to so that we understand how the whole procedure will go on. I mean, what all we have to write and exactly in what format we have to write and everything.
So that is why. So this is so obviously I can show you some example, but I want you to first think about this. Okay. Don't so right now it's not like I'm spoon feeding you this document. I'm giving you the format. Okay. Example documents, if you just search on the internet, you will find, or we can also provide some example documents. Okay. But right now we are floating this. What I would want is that you think about, see, your job in this particular project is to actually come up with the SRS document. Okay. We have given you, so if we keep it totally unstructured, then things will become very, very this thing. So that's why we have provided this format of the document, and each section is more or less defined. I mean, obviously there is some play, but it's more or less defined. Okay. So what I will urge you people to do is try to come up with the first version instead of looking at what other people have done, because every project is different. You have to understand this. Okay. Certain projects will have a very long, let's say, product scope section. Okay. Whereas certain other project, this project's product scope section could be just one single line. Okay. So all these variations will happen from project to project. Okay. So I will urge you to actually, yeah, so actually think about it a little bit. One other thing I will tell you is that, yeah, so some of it you will probably understand slightly better when in the theory class, the object-oriented design part is covered. Okay, so which is why we are sort of postponing the submission deadline for this assignment. As you have heard that we are already making it 16th March. Okay, so it's instead of the normal 1 week submission deadline, we are giving you already 2 week submission deadline. Okay. Yeah, so but yeah, so but you should you should try to come up with the sections all by yourself. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay. Anyway, we will also have a discussion in the next class. So if you have any particular problems or any particular questions, we can also discuss those. Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
What should we do? Is it something in tkinter or some web application or some desktop application regarding this project?
No, this is just the document.
No, like there's an entire project which we have to submit by some date in April now. That one.
Yes.
That
Okay.
one, what should we do?
So for that one, what should you do? So, okay. So all the instructions are here. Okay. So basically it is up to you what library you use. Okay. So we don't restrict you. So you can use tkinter if you want. If you say that, no, sir, I don't like tkinter, I want to use some other library, that is also fine with us. So there will be no judgment on that part. Okay, that why didn't you use a particular library? Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
no,
So
like if there is something like application which should be used by a user and some developer, like should that be specific to the user, or else the information which user enters should also be shared with the developer also?
no, I did not understand the question.
Sir, like should we create a web application and like should we host a website like that?
Okay. So if you want, you can also create a web application and then show it, run it in a browser runtime and show it. That is also a possibility. Yes. So what are the possibilities broadly? I can just tell you. So you can create a native application. Okay. Most probably you should, in most projects, you should create a GUI application, not a console application. Okay, should not be a command line application that you create in most projects. Of course, if there is a particular, so for each project you will be given you will also be given a mentor, so you can interact with your mentor who is a TA. Okay, you can also interact with us of course. Okay, so in the class, so these are the so it will be on a project specific basis. At the high level, what I can tell is typically it should be at least a GUI application. It can also be a web application. Okay. You may or may not use a background database. Again, if you use a background database, you're probably there are pluses and minuses. So probably your application is going to be more scalable and robust. On the other hand, it may be a little bit more, hungry, like resource hungry, because the database system should run in the background somewhere. Okay. Yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now, yeah. So now, yeah. So you can just read. So basically, so one other thing is, so maybe we can also talk about the like the evaluation. So every assignment you will have to submit something. So for example, for this assignment, you have to submit the SRS document. Okay. And you have to submit these two diagrams, the use case diagram and the class diagram. Okay. I will just give you an example of a use case diagram and class diagram, so you will find out. Okay. Additionally, there will be a Viva based on the project. Okay. We will decide the date for that Viva. Okay. So you will get a certain marks based on that project Viva. Okay. And that will also go towards, that will be added towards your quiz marks. Okay. So based on the documents that you submit, like for this project, you have to submit the document and the diagrams for assignment, next assignment. So assignment 6, you have to submit the code. Okay. For assignment 7, you have to submit the testing framework, some sort of a testing framework you have to submit. Okay. So these things will be evaluated, and there you will get a certain marks. Okay. Additionally, there will be a Viva, which will be part of the quiz. So this is how evaluation will be done.
Yeah, that detail I think it will come later, because it will be after the last assignment. And yeah, you might need to present your work, say for 10 minutes in front of us, and then there will be some question answering. So what did you do and so on. But yeah, the detail, like what do you need to present, what will be a good idea to present, that we will discuss later. Let us start this project, and then it will evolve.
Right. So this is one thing. Okay. And broadly, so how will you get your marks? So you saw what you have to submit. Okay, so you have to submit the SRS. Okay, let me also show some sample, maybe this thing. So I don't know if you can see my thing. So
yeah.
So basically, you also, in addition to the SRS diagram, you also SRS document, you also have to submit a use case diagram. Okay, so something like this. So what is the use case diagram? Use case diagram is basically, as you can see here, it will be, there should be like some system. Okay, so your software system. So there is a system boundary, you can see. Inside that, there are different modules, you can say. So order food is one module, serve food is another module. So this is for a client restaurant. Okay. And then there are the actors. Okay. So to the left or right, outside the system boundary, basically, there are the actors. So in this case, there is the waiter, there is the client, there's the cashier, there's the chef. These are all the actors. So as you can understand, in your case, your software case, there can be certain users who are the actors, or there can be even certain other things, like, for example, the database application can be one thing which is outside your system boundary, and different modules of your software actually interact with the database application. So the database application may be one actor. etc., etc. So network can be one actor, so on and so forth. Your application may interact with other applications, so those will be the other actors also. So broadly, you provide this diagram where, so there should be different modules of your software, how the different actors interact with different modules of the software to achieve what functionality. So for example, this waiter interacts with order food to receive order, okay, etc., etc. So client interacts with this order food module to place order, and so on and so forth, okay. So so you can just study it yourself to find out. If you have any questions, you can ask, okay. So this is about the use case diagram, okay. The other thing is the class diagram, okay. So this is about the design, so object oriented. So we are kind of assuming that you will do a object oriented design and the implementation of the software system, okay. So even if you are, let's say, using let's say something like web software or something, still you should use an object-oriented design and an object-oriented implementation. Okay, so yeah. So then what you will need to have. So again, this will be taught in great detail. Broadly, what you have here is you have the classes and the different members of the classes, and then you have the different interactions or relations between these classes. Okay, so you already have seen this generalization specialization relation, which is implemented as an inheritance. Okay, there can be association, composition, all these things can be there. Okay, so and this will be described. So I'm not going into detail here, but these will be described in your theory class. Okay, so this also you need to prepare. Okay, any question?
Sir?
Yes.
So for example, consider a library management system. Like if a student borrows a book and entered it in the app, the administration, like the person on the administration side should know that the student has borrowed a book, and for this to get achieved, either all the students and the administration person should use the same system, or else there should be some database. So will we get full marks if we use the former one, like if we don't create a database?
No, if you don't create a database, how will you store it? So what do you mean by either there should be all of them should, so the two are not exclusive, right? So let's say you are designing a library management system. Okay, so then your library management system should have all the data about the entire library. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
It should not be that it should be dependent on another system which will serve you the data for other users, other students, and only if this will be useful only for one student or maybe one group of students. That system is not useful, right?
Yes, sir. So what's the final answer? We have to use a database, right?
No, that's not what I said. See, whether the question is ill-formed. See, the two decisions are different, separate, okay? Whether, so you, for example, you can use database or you can use files to store the information. But the information should be there.
Yes, sir. Like if the information is stored in a file and it is stored in a single computer, like we cannot use the same app from different computers, right?
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So is it a distributed system? It's not a distributed system. Okay, it's a system, it's a software. So if it is a software system which will be running somewhere and other users may access it from somewhere. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So only one instance of the software will be running, okay? But that instance should be accessed by all the users and everybody.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so for a particular design, you will have to, you can talk to, your mentors and your teammates and try to come up with a design. Okay, so that is basically the purpose of this exercise. Okay.
So it's basically like a real-time application.
No, real time is something different. I think you. See, real-time system has a different connotation. Okay, so real-time system means that there are actually real-time guarantees. So,
I mean, like a real-life application. I don't know about that real-time.
Oh, real life.
Yes,
yeah,
like it's simultaneously used by different users from different various systems.
Yeah, so if you do a web, let's say if you design a web system or even a non-web system, let's say even if you design a native application, okay, it can be accessed by somebody can do a graphical login to the server on which this native application is running, and then they can fire away their own version of the application.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So it is up to you. So the design is up to you. But yes, so it should have that functionality that multiple people should be able to borrow and return and do these things at the same time, and system should be able to entertain that mechanism. Okay. Okay. So I think this is kind of clear. Okay. So yeah, so I think Professor Abid, from my side, I am done.
So yeah, I think what is left is just.
Sorry. I just one last thing I just wanted to mention. Yeah, so this is a kind of a broad breakup of the credit. Okay, so while writing your documents or your program, everything, you should sort of keep this credit breakup in mind. So about 30% marks is for the correctness. Okay, about 20% is for unambiguity and consistency. About 30% marks is for completeness. Okay, and about 20% marks is for verifiability or yeah, so rank for importance. So basically the principle here is that the most important features should come first. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Professor Abir. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to describe.
Yeah. So I think only one thing is left now, just to show the allotment. Hello. Yeah. Anything? Okay. So yeah, I think I can show where the allotment is. Just give me a second, so I can share the screen. Where is it? Yeah, here. Yeah. So I hope you can see my screen. So you see the project allotment document here inside Software Engineering Laboratory Moodle course. So if you go there, this is, I think, I mean, the allotment is final, but some of the cells you will see empty, which we will just slowly basically fill it in. So, okay, the important parts are the project number. This is the project title, and these are the two groups. So group 1 and group 2. These are the group number, I think, as it was submitted by time it was sorted, and then these numbers were put. So as you know, it was first come first serve. So the team that first submitted its first preference was respected. Then as we go ahead or go along with time, then if the respective first preference was available, it was given. Otherwise, second preference, third preference, etc., it was given. So we, I think, ultimately could, I mean, for a few of the projects there were no options. For example, these projects, so you will see empty cells there. I think there were 28 total number of projects that were allotted to how many teams? I think 4 or 5. So yeah, whatever many the number of teams are, and then these are the TAs who will be mentoring. So if you have the question, the first point of contact will be the TAs. So for example, this airline management system, this group 30, 43 and 49, they got this, and Siva will be the point of contact. Okay, so this is sort of it. The teacher, I mean, this is basically for the viva or the presentation. So all these things will come when which team will basically give the viva and who will take the viva. So we will, for ease of basically management, we will divide these projects into two basically groups. Again, when groups means not group with human, but sort of will divide it into two. Maybe if there are 28 projects, so 14 will for 14 projects the teams will present in front of me, and the rest of the 14 it will be presented in front of Professor Sorangshu. So this part you can ignore at this point, these teachers time slot. You should basically focus on this left hand part. There also there are two things to note. A few, I think just two projects still don't have a TA mentor. I think this NGO management system and judiciary information system. So information system software. So these two we will very soon basically put, and we will update the new or upload the updated document in Moodle, and we will inform. So that is one thing. Just for these two projects, it is not there. Another thing is that we found that I think Akash was the one person who did not give any team member's name. So that was one student, and there were 4 students who did not provide any choice. Neither did they submit nor give any choices. So there were total 5 students for whom there was no team. So we have basically randomly assigned these 3, Bhuri Meena, these, and Asimanand, with I mean as one team, and then the rest of the 2. So Akash and Sajida Kaushar, you will be a 2-member team. So just make sure that you connect with yourselves. It's up to you. It's your duty to connect with these members because you did not submit. So those are some of the logistics related things that you need to keep it in mind. Any questions on this part? Hello.
Sir, I wanted to, sir.
Yeah.
Which team will be evaluating?
Yeah, for these assignments, these I think there was a document, right? It is given. I think this
Sir,
one.
but actually, what will happen? Each group will have 3 tiers. 3 different.
Yes. So, that is also true. So I think what we will discuss about it, but I think because I think the team may be that okay. One team may have some person from here, some person from there, and so on. So we will discuss. I think the easiest option would be to evaluate by the mentor TA, but that we are not decided yet. So we will let you know, because it's two weeks, still 2 weeks, right? So we'll let you know. Okay.
So it will be better if different TAs allowed the 3 different parts.
Yeah, I mean that will be for sure. That will be for sure. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think we can also, we can decide on this.
Yeah, we will decide. I mean, this week's TA meeting will decide that. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, if not, then it's a good time, I think, for the TAs to start evaluating the ones that you were due. I think mostly the Python DS assignment and Python GUI. Okay, so you join the TA rooms, the corresponding evaluating TAs. I think you know, for Python DS, this group will be evaluated by Soumi. This group will be evaluated by OS. I think Soumi and OS already done it. So yeah, please, the TAs, you contact the teams or other students for evaluation and start evaluating. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, me and my teammates were not having a group in the last meeting, so we talked to you and you told us to send an email to you. So I sent.
We sent it to I think the TAs. Your team was not allotted. So
Yes, sir.
Wes, you are here?
Yes, sorry, sir.
No, I'm not asking you. Wes, you are here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So do you remember this group? I mean, did I forward you the mail? I did not.
Was it the team 19, sir?
Let me check.
Yes, sir. I just wrote it team meeting.
Actually, sir, we were exhausted, means seeing the preferences. All the preference was allotted by then. So maybe.
So all the 10 preferences were allotted.
Yes,
and they have not submitted in time, right?
Yes, sir. They submitted at the very end. That is why I guess.
Okay. Then what I would suggest your team is to choose from any one of these projects, these 7, 19, 21 or 34. Okay. So you send us that choice, which one will be, because these are all available. The ones that are.
Yeah, you decide now itself, because.
But I don't know. I mean, whether if you can decide now, that would be the fantastic
now
thing.
It's within this class, because let's not delay this too much.
Right. Yes. So with this class, please decide among these 4 projects.
Take half an hour or something, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever. But within this class time, please send us, because already others are starting. So.
Okay. And sir, the rest of the projects, we don't choose from them, the left, other than the 4?
That will be logistically pretty bad. So since you have not submitted in time, we are giving you the opportunity, but we have some constraints also, right? So choose among these 4.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
So I think I will leave the TAs and the teams to this evaluation. Okay. I think we can stop the recording. Shravansh, you can stop the recording, I think.